pay different salaries? Should a Bangladeshi have the same right to find a new job in Singapore after he loses his first job? The way a Singaporean has a right to go and find a job. A lot of Singaporeans might say no. What do you mean by equality? Do we frame the word equality only in the context of the state? Again, Singaporeans are this, non-Singaporeans are that. Within the Singaporeans, equality. Non-Singaporeans, to hell with you, we can discriminate you. But why? Why do we so privilege what I call the state boundaries? So, and if you're going to say that equality is only equality within the in-group, is that any different from the arguments that the other side makes, right? The freedom to have anal sex. You know what I mean, right? Do I need to elaborate? Alright, okay. The freedom to have anal sex, to sodomize, is a freedom equally shared and given to those who are heterosexual, the in-group. Now, so in other words, I'm saying to you this, that if you accept the argument that we don't need to pay Bangladeshis the same salaries as a Singaporean, you are applying the in-group, out-group framing to the question of equality. So equality is only for the in-group. It is not a lot different from the way the other side has framed it. Right? If you're heterosexual, you're in-group, you may have equality and freedoms and liberty. If you're an out-group, you're an out-group. But the whole problem now will start this. If we keep on questioning every of these boundaries of in-group, out-group, where do we stop? And this is why I said at the beginning, I'm not sure what to think now about the question of equality. In a blog post many, many years ago, I can't even remember what words I used, but I said, there's something very strange about Homo sapiens. We are orphans. And we carry the horrible burden of being orphans in this world. Why did I say that? I said, of all the many, many different animal species on this planet, we are almost unique in that we really don't have very closely connected variations of Homo sapiens still extant on this earth. Whales have different kinds of whales. Sharks have different kinds of sharks. All right? And certainly dogs and wolves and foxes, they're all related, aren't they? Okay? So if we have suffered from that poverty because there wasn't another type of another type of human that we have to engage with who are nearly as intelligent as we are. Because then it would have forced us very early on to question, what do we mean by in-group, out-group? Where are our boundaries? But because we have this very stark gap between us and our next equivalent, which is the chimpanzee, or maybe some would say it's orangutan, we can very complacently know that, oh, human beings are the in-group. Actually, we then subdivide it further, say Singaporeans are the in-group, or Chinese are the in-group, or Sunni Muslims are the in-group, not Shia Muslims. Forget Sufism. And it has really made us very lazy in our head because it hasn't forced us to think what we mean and what rights we give to people who are a little bit different from us. They're too complacent. So I still don't know what the answer is. And I think you can quite validly have very different reasons for practical reasons, reasons to say that no, we can't extend equality on and on and on and on. But then be very careful, because if you use that argument, then what do you mean by equality for gay people, for LGBT? About liberty. Do you know the National Pledge? We, the citizens of Singapore, how does it end? To achieve what?
Democratic society based on justice and equality.
Is there some more after the justice and equality?
Justice, prosperity, and progress for nation.
For our nation. You know, I've always thought, and this really is not new, for 50 years I thought, that is terrible. It's terrible. I don't even know why so many people want to recite that pledge. I will not. I don't even know why you want to recite that pledge at the Workers' Party rally. I will not. Why should we achieve justice, prosperity, and equality for the nation? Equality for the nation? Semantically, it's all rubbish, first to start with. It's even an example of bad English, bad language. It's equality for you and me and him and her, not for the nation. Justice for the nation, or justice for you and him and her. Right? What is the nation for? What is the state for? It's for us. It's not we are for the state. It's not that we are supposed to do this and do that and all that and have peace and prosperity for the nation. It's the other way around. I remain a firm believer that, to use cliche at the end of the day, it's the individual that counts. It's his happiness that counts. Really. It's his well-being that counts. It doesn't matter whether there's a state or not. A stateless person has as much right to liberty, happiness, and personal growth as a citizen of the state. So I think, in my view, my personal view, the ultimate measure of us in terms of progress is for us to speak in terms of personal liberty and personal happiness and personal well-being. The state is merely an instrument. It's only a tool towards that. Yes, sometimes more can be achieved if we organize together. But again, Singapore is also another offer. In many other parts of the world, people live with multiple levels of organizing. The municipality, the province, or the state, the nation, and in some cases like Europe, the supranation. You have a problem with the human rights in your country, appeal to the supranational European Court of Human Rights. Even in Latin American countries, they have the supranational Court of Human Rights now. Not only do we not have different levels of organizing, we have suppressed what levels we had. Civil society, which is one way of organizing. We look down on civil society. We are very, very afraid of religious groups organizing transnationally because we see it as a threat. And so, we then reduce our whole framing of the world to this very single monolayer of state or nothing. When really, that is not how it is. Humans organize, get things done in different groups at different levels, whatever works best to our greatest happiness. And I would like us to think in these terms. There are certain things that are best done at civil society, certain things best done at state, and certain things where you need a supranational body to get it done, against the wishes of the state. So now I'm beginning to speak like a conscientious objector, and I want to rescue that word from the ignobility that it has unfortunately fallen into. I'm a conscientious objector. I object to the big role that the state wants to play in our lives, in our thinking, in a whole perspective. Why is everything grounded on the state boundary, citizen, non-citizen? Why is everything grounded on state solutions? And ultimately, why should you even, why should loyalty even be demanded of you? No. If the state treats you badly, it does not deserve any respect. Now, the state is not this abstract thing. Ultimately, it's a group of people who hold the keys, the levers of power to the state. But if they start to treat you badly or with disrespect, you owe them nothing. You don't have to resign the pledge. You can quite honorably emigrate and say, to the hell with it. To hell with it. But if the individual, those of us at least who are not conservative, who are like cats wandering into the other backyard and up the tree and all that, if we are not going to allow ourselves to be organized by external forces, what are we going to use as moral guidelines? For those who believe in group, cohesion, community, the state, it's very easy for them. There are the scriptures, there are the books, the laws to follow, commands from senior leaders. But for those of us who are skeptical about leaders, for those of us who are skeptical about the tried and tested ways, well, not necessarily going to follow what the group wants us to do, where do we find new guidance? That's a huge subject, which is an area of interest that I share with certainly with the Humanist Society very much. And this is where, this is my last thing. I'm not sure if you can ever find that guidance. I think that's the framing question wrong. I think ultimately it's all about process. It's about a lifetime of inquiry, of learning and unlearning and relearning. And here is the one thing that I want to mention here. When you look at that in this way, how are we different from some of the best thinkers who come from a religious background? In other words, maybe the fault line is not between those who carry the label of Muslim or Christian or Buddhist or Hindu or atheist or humanist. In fact, the word humanist actually is probably other different layer. We can be both a Christian humanist as well as a Muslim humanist. Maybe the main divide is really between those who would rather rely on the known, on the tested, on authority, and those who would search. And there are a lot of people who are deeply spiritual, deeply believe that in the course of that search, there is such a thing as a power greater than us. And I can't say that they are wrong. But I can feel a lot of affinity with these people who are deeply religious, but who also spend life searching, inquiring, checking out new ideas, new values, new treatments. So that was the other thing that I gradually learned over the years. We were bashed by Christian fundamentalists in the course of the LGBT movement. We still continue to be bashed. But I always keep reminding myself that ultimately it's not about being religion versus us, but it's between those who would fear anything that they are not habituated to, and those of us, including some very religious people, who are prepared to think, inquire, search, and question.